Kurush.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Sorry I couldn't attend last week meeting. Things
No, that's
were
fine.
crazy here.
Yeah, I think Matthew said that you were going to be busy.
Yeah, actually, to be honest, even today it was crazy, but I thought I cannot skip two meetings. Yeah, in parallel, I'm doing something else. So we have this GTC starting mid-March, but it's crazy. Basically, our team is responsible for a big part of it.
Okay.
And every day and night, we are working on it that we can deliver. We have very restricted deadlines and working on it. You know if Matthew are gonna join?
I think he is. I haven't heard anything from him.
Okay.
I assume he would. I heard from Sherman earlier. He's not going to be able to attend, but
Okay.
he's worked on the oh, Matthew's joining now, actually. He's worked on the introduction for the white paper and should be putting that in later this week, he says.
Cool.
So that's
Hi,
cool.
guys.
Hey, Matt.
Hey.
How's it going?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
Okay.
Discovered today whilst trying to do some of the write-up that I committed to last week, that I no longer have access to the draft, which is a bit confusing.
Why not?
So they locked Cadence have sort of restricted access to Google Docs.
Oh, gotcha.
I think as part of sort of like information security or whatever. But for quite a while, that happened a while back, and it carried on just working fine, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
And now I just get a very plain website on the browser going, you are not permitted to do this action or something like that.
Oh.
It's very unforgiving in its wording. But,
Yeah.
oh,
Before
you are not
they
allowed to perform this action. That's it. No questions, no suggestions of what to do next. Just
yeah. Next they're gonna report you to HR, so be careful.
yeah. Well, I mean, I tried about 5 times with the docs links. So I might genuinely get flagged. But
No, actually,
according
I
to
think there's something because here they're keep telling us as well, and they recently put too many trainings for us to make sure that we don't click on wrong links and we don't open
yeah,
emails. So
the joys of compliance, eh?
yeah, I know. Okay, yeah, I have to be honest, because of all GTC stuff, I didn't get a chance to work on the document, and I'm sorry about that, but hopefully end of this week, my portion for GTC going to be a little bit lighter, so I can kind of focus on this one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Preparation's going well.
No.
Oh dear.
No.
Well, do give us a shout if there's anything we can do to help. I know that it's sort of discussed at higher levels or whatever, but if there's anything at the coal base that we can help with, then give me a shout.
Yeah. So I know here is not a place to talk about that, but the biggest problem that I have right now is matching my model with the Omniverse model. Is pain. Yeah. So yeah, we can talk about that later.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So last week, who was it? From Google wanted to join. Did we get anybody join the call?
Oh yeah, there were a couple of people joined off of the back of that facility group call. There was what's his name? Pradeep? Is that the guy? Pradeep Shahi
Yeah.
from NVIDIA, one of your
Yeah.
colleagues. I think I met him at ASHRAE. And then there was also a guy from Schneider Electric
Okay.
who joined, who I think spoke on the call if you were on it. I can't remember if I sort of saw your face, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a Schneider guy, and then the Meta person who did the presentation, Julius, he joined.
Okay.
He had sort of joined the week before, if you see what I mean.
Oh, he joined, Julius?
He
Yeah,
hasn't
yeah,
joined
yeah,
the
yeah.
call yet, but he's joined the group.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I wondered about that because I think the first time when you joined Karush, it was after we had initially sent out the invite for the call.
Right.
And I think as a result, you hadn't perhaps necessarily, like when you joined, got this is a recurring invite. So I wondered whether we should resend it to try and, do you know what I mean? Whenever we get new people, whether we should send a new invite so that it tries to sort of rope
Yeah.
them in.
Yeah, I think so. The other thing is this one, it doesn't have notification. So
Yeah,
Do
yeah, you
you
have
not
to
have a
switch it on yourself.
notification still?
no, still no notification. Even I am trying to put notification for myself, but it does it for only one time. It doesn't do for entire.
It doesn't do it for the entire series.
Yeah.
Weird. There is a notification. So I set it to give a notification, and it does give a reminder. But that reminder is an email you get like 5 minutes before it starts, or is that just me?
No, I get that one. I get that
Okay.
one. Yeah, that's kind of my reminder. And yeah, each night before going to bed, I kind of review what meetings I have that I can have a better sleep at night. So so yeah, I kind of remind myself that tomorrow morning I have a OCP call. So
Cool. I'm looking at the event in Groups.io, and I have no idea how you add a reminder. The only option for reminder is the kind of email system.
okay, maybe it's designed in this way. I don't know.
Attendees can bring guests, RSVP. Yeah. Yeah, I can't see anything that says how to get a reminder going through the calendar.
Okay. I had the. Okay, so what's the status of the rest of the white paper coming up?
I haven't
cool.
had so much time to work on my bit this week. I did finish off the first draft of the image.
Mm-hmm.
So
nice.
I pasted that in the white in the document.
Mm-hmm.
Although I can't find it now. There was an example of like what format they want the figures to be in, but that might be in another draft of the white paper.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's kind of just the names of the levels and a brief one sentence about each level. I think it needs to have like it needs a bunch of prose after it to explain kind of what's going on in there. So it might be better. I might revisit it. I'm not 100% happy because ideally a diagram should like be self-explanatory and not require a whole load of extra words
Mhm.
after the fact in the document itself. So, but yeah, the first draft of it is in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it looks good. So 2 weeks ago that Matthew, you were at ASHRAE, so we talked about that. I think I gonna work on the conclusion and future works, and you are going to work on the challenges and barriers to adoption.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're the best person to work on that.
I certainly know a lot of the barriers to adoption.
Yeah. You face through many problems.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. I was actually wondering, so an analogy came up in a conversation in the last week that kind of feels to me like quite a useful framing tool. Whereas basically like an old employer of mine got in touch knowing what company I work for, etc. And said, we've got a client who we're working on a project with, and they want a digital twin. And so we're calling you to talk about whether you can help them with a digital twin. And you can imagine the immediate questions that come to mind are sort of like, what's this person want to represent with their digital twin? What do they want to use the digital twin for? Like, is it, is it high fidelity, all of the different disciplines, or is it going to be focused in one area, all this kind of thing? And I was like reeling all this out to someone who is familiar with data center construction projects and familiar with cooling hardware systems and this kind of thing, but digital twins not so much. And so I kind of framed it to them as, you've got to look at it as like, what you've just told me is that someone wants to buy a car, but you haven't told me whether they care about fuel efficiency or speed. You haven't told me whether they need something that's like got loads of space and is like a useful run around for the week, or whether they're looking for something that would be like nice for a long journey. Like it's such an amorphous concept to just go, I want a digital twin, without actually framing it in terms of what the sort of priorities and expectations are. But I wondered whether sort of in the introductory section, whether that would be, I wasn't sure whether it would be kind of too casual and too non-technical, or whether it would be a useful way of sort of framing it in terms that everyone can understand of, when we say data center digital twins, that could be many things to many people for many purposes.
Yeah.
And if you approach it in the same way as the sort of like, I want a car, but what does that mean? It might help people to sort of frame, get their heads around the concept that it's all about application fundamentally.
Yeah, this happened to me as well, because internally I'm leading the the CFD group and leading the digital twin group as well. And somebody came to me and said, yeah, I want a digital twin model of this data center. And I said, yeah, okay, we are in process of development. Some part are developed and some parts still need more work. Started explaining, and his face got a little bit more and more kind of weird. That what's he talking about? So at the end of the day, I figured out, no, he just need a CFD and flow network. That's it. And he wants to kind of give
back to what we've said
like
before.
a better name to it as a digital twin. So
this reminds me of what we've been talking about before, where it's like one of the audience members or one of the audiences for this white paper is the person who's been told they need a digital twin, but they don't know what that is.
Yeah. Very real audience.
It does remind me of, so I'm not sure if you're aware of the Digital Twin Consortium. They're a large industry working group. They came up with a definition. Not 100% happy with it, but one of the first things in their definition, so they've got a couple of bullet points. One of the first bullet points is digital twins are motivated by outcomes driven by use cases. I think that is a key thing that we need to kind of highlight.
Absolutely.
Hello, guys. Actually, I would like to introduce myself. I'm a newcomer in this community. Actually, I was in contact with Mark since few months, and I wasn't able to subscribe to OCP only actually, I got the go from my company only last week, so that's the reason why I'm quite late in this work stream. So I'm from Dassault System. And so I know that I'm quite late in this process, and especially in the process of creating a white paper about data center, about digital twin. But if possible, I would like to join and maybe to add some comment on that. Actually, I access to the Google referential only this morning, so I just started to know what are the main direction you are taking, and I have already some comments, but I want to be very humble first of all, and especially because I'm arriving quite late in this work group. But my first feeling, you talk about different type of digital twin. My feeling, at least what I've seen, I don't know if I have a complete view, but what I've seen is that the digital twin you present in this white paper is very oriented for the operation of the data center, and maybe not for the design and manufacturing of the data center. So that was my first comment. I don't want to go further again, because I really want to be very humble, but if I can provide some insight, and if we can maybe add, I think the what has been, at least what I've seen, again, it's very complex for me because I arrived very late, and it's not an easy position, but maybe could worth to define different chapter in the white paper, and have a first chapter for the design, another one for the assembly maybe, and another one for the operation. And what you have done so far could definitely enter into this operation chapter.
Yeah. So first of all, welcome to the team.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah. We kind of get excited. More and more people join this team. And to be honest, you are not very late. So we just got it started. Yeah. So
okay, cool.
So yeah. So about the
can you introduce yourself? Sorry, because I just have names. Just very briefly.
Actually, good. That's a good idea. So I started. So I'm Kurosh. I'm with NVIDIA. It's been like 1.5 years that I'm with NVIDIA, and I'm leading the CFD and DCDT team. And we are here trying to kind of answer a lot of questions that people have about the digital twin, and trying to address that, come up with this white paper that people can read and get more aligned with understanding of the digital twin.
We'll go next.
Matthew or Steve, yeah.
I'm Steve. I'm from Interact, which is a digital sustainability consultancy, really. Got a background in academia and been doing digital twins and data centers for a while. So kind of coming from a slightly sustainability background, but simulation and sustainability mostly.
Actually, I think that the system, we have a brand which is called Outscale, and Outscale works with Interact.
Oh, okay, cool.
Nice. So my name's Matthew Kaufler. I'm a product engineer with Cadence Design Systems. And I am part of the team that develops, but not on the like code development front, more of the sort of product engineering side. For Reality DC, which is a sort of digital twin platform focused on design and operation of data centers. So we've actually got sort of like both sides covered. So I'm very much immediately bought into incorporating that element of the sort of physical asset life cycle into the sort of the sort of value that you can get from a digital twin. Yeah, and I've been knocking around with Cadence for I think six years or something now. I joined in 2019, and I sort of spent half the time in the application engineering team actually using the software. Quite a lot of it, as Karush said, quite a lot of it is essentially CFD and flow network modeling, co-simulation at the design stage, and then with the sort of operational tool, there's a lot more direct interaction with the data center systems. But yeah, so I think it's a really valid point that you made, that we probably have sort of overlooked those elements. And I know certainly with the work that Karish, you might want to expand on it, but I've certainly got the sense that your focus is on the design side as well as the operations side when you talk about digital twins.
Yeah, so basically we started with design side of it. Basically our goal at NVIDIA was to help our partners that they can design their data center using digital twin, that they can deploy it faster, and kind of we have more, we call it as AI factories. We can have more AI factories faster and faster. So there are some elements in it, like understanding the bill of material, that we can use digital twin, how much piping we need, how much space we need, how much cabling, and so on. And this can be a digital twin that we use in design side of it. But I think because I used to work with Feature Facility, that it was acquired by Cadence, and Matthew coming from the same company. So I used to work for Feature Facility, and coming from that simulation side, I don't think ever we can design a data center without doing any simulation. So basically, I divided the simulation part into design side and the operational side. The design side, we have time, and we can do extra analysis. We can look at different scenarios and so on, come up with optimized solution at the design side. But when we get to operation, we need to do simulation, but that simulation, it needs to get the telemetry data from operational data center, doing analysis. Kind of, we don't have time anymore. So basically all the analysis that we have done in the design side should help us to kind of bring it more closer to real-time simulation and do the operation. And the last phase basically is what Steve also put in his in the white paper, that we need to bring it to the data center and get the benefit out of it. That when we can predict the load that coming to the data center, we don't need to let the PID controllers to basically sense the higher temperature, sense the higher power draw, and then start kind of pumping more air or more liquid to the system. So basically, by the time that the load comes to the data center, these digital twins can talk to each other, and then the load balancing digital twin can let the cooling digital twin know that okay, so in the next 30 seconds, in the next minute, we need we are going to generate this much heat, and we're going to need this much cooling capacity. So long story short, basically, we have to focus on different elements of the digital twin. The design side by itself, it's very valuable, and we are going to use it a lot. But operational is another beast that basically we need to work on as well.
Yeah, actually, if we talk about depend on what we mean by design, because you have the design before the commissioning, so all the engineering project before the data center is commissioned, and then you may have also additional design within the computer room, which is more specific to how you allocate or how you define the layout of your rack, the inlet, outlet for the air cooling, if you have air cooling, this type of thing. So maybe we can define, not define two different design, but you have design at different level. You have major design, and that's design that you will not be able to change actually during the initial design phase. So all the cooling system, the chillers, and so on. So all the infrastructure of your data center, and then you have the design within the computer room, and when it's come to Six Sigma, I think it's really there where you're good by being able really to very quickly design the room, design the racks, allocate all the equipment within the racks, and then run CFD simulation. And maybe for an hyperscaler or even colocation they're also interested by that, but they may have new customers and having to introduce new racks. So it means your design will change, and you will have again to run simulation. So and that's typically type of optimization you want to do during the I would say during the long-term operation phase. And then you have the energy management solution, and Kurosh is what you were mentioning before. It's really real-time monitoring, maybe based on AI application, based on maybe previous CFD simulation that you have done, and that allow you to define a simplified model that you can use in real time. So I think if we start to decompose, we can go a little bit further.
Yeah, I think that's a useful way of looking at it. There's definitely people within our organization who would be very happy to hear you talking about sort of changing the layout as essentially a redesign, of the facility sort of as you go along. Yeah, that's very much a sort of way of thinking about it, that I can get on board with, certainly. I think it makes sense. I guess one bit of context that I think is possibly worth chucking in terms of like the scope that we've gone for with the white paper and the sort of level of detail that we've gone into, is that so at the outset of this work group, the ask from the OCP organization was that we try and deliver a white paper so that it can be sort of launched and promoted as part of their EMEA summit, which I think is in April, or is it March?
April.
Yeah, end of April. And so we've kind of, I think they initially asked for sort of a comprehensive white paper on digital twins with case studies, and going into all of the different ways that it can be applied and all the different sort of ways of conceptualizing it. And we took the view that in order to deliver anything by the end of April, that we needed to sort of trim that scope back and treat this initial white paper as a sort of almost like an introductory conversation almost about digital twins, and then use that to try and draw in more interested stakeholders, like yourself, who can then we can work in a larger group to collaborate on actually trying to develop that more detailed, more comprehensive white paper. So I guess all I'm trying to get at is I fully endorse incorporating the concepts that you're talking about into this white paper. But I guess I'm just trying to sort of level set a little bit on how much coverage we're going to get in. Because I think at the beginning of this call, a lot of the updates were essentially, I've been really pushed for time to try and work on my contribution to it, and so we're kind of trying to keep that work commitment within something that we can all deliver within that time frame. And then sort of like once we've got that out the door, we can, like as you were saying, a whole like a section on how it's useful for design, section on how it's useful for the actual construction and assembly phase, section on operations, that kind of level of sort of detailed coverage where you could almost arguably each one of those could be a white paper in itself. So yeah,
although I think we could incorporate some of that into this. I think it fits within section 2 quite nicely.
I think we should definitely incorporate
like,
it. Yeah,
there's like there's like multiple axes, and we're talking about kind of a life cycle axis here of kind of saying the digital twin needs to evolve from a conceptual model through the entire life cycle of the system, where you're like redeploying hardware and wanting to know what that hardware is going to do to the system. That is what you're talking about with the second design phase. You've got like conceptual, the commissioning, the design of the actual system, what's in there. And strictly speaking, the digital twin should follow through that whole life cycle journey until decommissioning, essentially.
At least I think it's important at least to show the complete picture, and then maybe we can say, okay, for the first white paper, we decide maybe to deep dive on one topic, but at least yes, to explain that the digital twin is really going from the, I don't remember the expression in English, from the grave to the grave is
cradle to grave.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The goal.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Just to kind of elaborate a bit more on what Matthew was saying, one of the objectives we were trying to achieve with this white paper was kind of reducing the improving the definition of what people talk about when they say a digital twin. So we're aiming for kind of 3 different types of people to read the paper. We're looking at people who don't know anything about digital twins, and have heard that they should have one, but don't know what that is. And the aim there is to kind of cut through some of the marketing materials that are out there to say like, oh, this is digital twin, this is everything is digital twin. And so the idea is kind of provide some kind of framework for thinking about digital twins in the data center space, so people can say, I know what I'm getting when I'm asking for a digital twin. Everyone's kind of on the same page about what they're asking for. Mostly we're thinking about that from an operations perspective, but any input you can give on kind of design and commissioning, that would be awesome. The second is people who already have a digital twin, but maybe aren't using it fully. So for them, the idea is to kind of highlight some of the things that it can do for you, and some of the benefits you get from adopting digital twins, and also provide a kind of direction of travel for where the digital twin space is expecting to go, and more toward automation and that kind of stuff. And then the third audience is kind of the tool developers. So anyone who's developing a digital twin, like Cadence, for example, to kind of get them on board, or users of it, highlighting some of the problems around interaction between those tools, integration between the tools, co-simulation, that kind of stuff, to try and then gain a consensus in the industry, so that in the next white paper or next 2 or 3 white papers, when we say we think it should look like this when you stick two digital twins together. We're not just talking from one perspective, we're talking from the kind of an industry perspective.
Mm.
Yeah. And further to what you said, obviously, I'm not in a data center design position, so that's a complete kind of blind spot for me. If you could give any insight as to how any of the level stuff or anything that's in the paper so far kind of maps onto the design side of digital twins, or if it really doesn't map on, that would be useful too. Yeah, your input on that would be awesome.
Yes. When I see chapter 2, type of digital twins, and then you have a table with 5 levels.
Yeah.
For me, again, for me, it was very oriented on the side of the operation. And to be honest, I don't know how to. I need to read again the draft and to see how to incorporate. But when I read it the first time, I said to myself, okay, maybe the best way would be to add a chapter and just explaining. Maybe I don't know if I can use the same level, but explaining briefly how a digital twin will enable to actually the main goal of a digital twin in the design space is really to do predictive to do predictive analysis. So first of all, for example, to be able to size the cooling system, to size the power systems, to make sure that based on initial requirements, for example, you will be able to provide the power. If one of the requirements is to be able to provide a computation power, for example, that you will be able to achieve that. That's really for the design phase, and maybe also to work on the sustainability. During the design phase, you may run LCA analysis, for example, and to do that, you need a bill of material for sure. So a few examples on the design. On the assembly, so it's a real case because we have a customer. I'm not allowed to mention this customer, but it's a big customer, one of the GAFAM. In French, we say GAFAM, so Google, Amazon, Facebook, and and they use our manufacturing solution to define sequence of assembly, to define the sequence of assembly of the data center. And that's very useful because, for example, that a typical use case, if one of your supplier has delays, for example, imagine that the provider of the chillers has delay. You know, the chiller are quite big equipment. So if you continue to build your data center and to build wall, maybe you won't be able to install this chiller. So you need to not to stop the construction because it's going to be a lose of money, but you want to maybe reorganize your assembly in order to make sure that in 2 months from now you will be able to integrate your chiller. So that's typically the type of simulation you can perform based on your digital twin, and that provide efficiency that will reduce the time to market, this type of things. So during the design phase, the digital twin is really the value is really related to the time to market. Could be also the resiliency, because you can perform what if analysis. What happens if my chiller, one of my chiller failed, for example. So you can define type of redundancy by doing those type of simulation. And then you can use the design for the assembly of your data center, and then you reuse the digital. Sorry, that's a system we talk about virtual twin. That's really why. But your digital twin during the operation. and propose a kind of handover to the operation.
Yeah, that actually reminds me very much of a project management organization who got in touch with us to try and understand whether our digital twin was the kind of digital twin that would enable what it sounds like your digital twin is used for in terms of planning sequences and like you said, reducing time to market and stuff. So yeah, I've had real world exposure to the people who are looking for exactly that when they talk about digital twins. Yeah. Yeah, I think we should. I think we can incorporate. I personally think that if we're going to be trying to talk holistically about digital twins and their purposes and their uses, I think that rather than breaking it out into those different stages, actually talking about, because I mean, a lot of what you talked about in terms of prediction, in terms of managing change, like I think that's true in both the sort of design and the operation stage, but it's just sort of different perspectives on how that enablement then gives you value. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think from what I've put in there so far, I can see how 3, 4, and levels 3, 4, and 5 could map onto kind of increasingly intelligent digital twins at design time. And I can adjust the wording to not be based on kind of real-time data, or self-optimizing systems that are kind of, or at least remove it from the control systems. Like the lower down ones, they might need a bit of work, I think. Thinking about, so I guess at 0, you're talking about when instead of no digital twins, you're talking about pen and paper CAD. Well, not even CAD, you're talking about pen and paper designs, right? And then maybe you've got CAD at level 1. Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I can try to think about that, how to integrate the whole life cycle within those different levels.
Yeah. Essentially, with the maturity model thing that I've got so far, I was going to add some arrows, and then I thought arrows looked lame. I might I might do them anyway. I'm kind of thinking that from the idea is to try and incorporate both the past as a level 0 and the future as a level 5, so it doesn't immediately become out of date. And the way I've been looking at it is, as you're increasing in level, you're essentially increasing in the complexity of the insight you're gaining. So the complexity of the modeling you're doing, and the kind of complexity of the insights you're gaining, and also the automation within the system. Those kind of 3 things seem to be increasing as you go up through, from not having anything to having basic models to doing simulation, and then gaining kind of self-optimizing or insights, predictive maintenance, that kind of stuff. It's the automation and the detail of integration and insight that you're getting.
Yeah, actually.
Jean-Marc, a question, if I may, as part of your digital twin systems, do you have tools that sort of recommend an order of operation and an order of assembly, or is it something that people have to do, sort of manually working it out themselves, or are there tools within your products that will actually, look at the way that something's been assembled and mated together, for example, and be able to analyze that certain things have to happen before others? Because I guess that would immediately map onto an element of sort of automation within a design digital twin. I'm not sure if it's something that.
Yeah, actually, currently we already have solution to automatically, for example, you have a computer room, you want to define the layout of your racks, you define constraints, and the tool automatically do some proposal based on your constraints. So, for example, the constraint could be the size of a corridor between two row of racks, for example. It can be the fact that you want a maximum of, I don't know, 40 racks or a minimum of 40 racks. So those type of constraints. So that's quite that's something that we can already that we propose already. And what we are also thinking is really to we are in the generative area today. And what we have in mind, so we are not there currently, but that's definitely our strategy, is to be able to really to propose kind of generative data center. So knowing, and actually it's a kind of combination of digital twins. So you may have the digital twin of your cooling system, you have a digital twin of your power system, and you may have actually libraries of virtual twins, of digital twins, sorry. And we may think of being able really to generate in a kind of automatic way a new data center based on initial requirements, for example. That's what we are working on. Not specifically for data center actually, but the technology we are working on will fit for the aerospace and automotive industry. As you know, that's a system we come from the aerospace and automotive industry. We are very well positioned on those domains, and the technology we are developing for them will fit for data center as well.
Oh, that definitely sounds like up the layers of automation into what a design digital twin could look like. That's really interesting. That's pretty exciting stuff.
And that's the reason why I'm quite interested by contributing to this work group, because if we want to do that, it means we also need to be able to exchange data between the different digital twins. So the question of how to exchange data is really crucial for us. I mean, for the community, for the
Interoperability is we're gonna have to unlock that
exactly
for it to really work.
It will not be an easy topic.
That's the next white paper, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. We're not doing that by April.
No.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. Oh, nice. I had a feeling you guys would have something like that up your sleeves. I've been a little bit of I started out working in like product design, and used the Dassault Systems software quite a lot. So I'm quite a fanboy, if I'm honest. Not to be too unprofessional about it, but yeah, no, that's pretty cool. Good to hear that you guys are going in that direction.
Maybe so. We have 9 minutes left. My contribution maybe could be to add some comments on the document and to share that with you guys. I won't be available next week because I'm at the Mobile World Congress. I don't know if you guys will participate to this event.
It's not on my radar, I don't.
Okay, so so it's a huge event around mobility, but most of the there are many companies like all the telecom companies, all the big names of the high tech industry are there. I guess Cadence should be there as well.
I imagine so, but we're so big that if it's not like there's sort of there's our software ecosystem, and then there's the bit of the company that software fits into, and then there's like layers and layers beyond that. So I think, there's I think probably some of our, depending on what, did you say it's a mobility conference?
Mobility. At the beginning, it was very oriented on the telecom domain, but today it's much broader actually. So you have.
Oh, I think my colleagues, where's it happen? Sorry,
It's
is
in
it?
Barcelona. In Barcelona.
I could, yeah, I could imagine that we'll have, probably have a few representatives there. I'm just thinking that there's possibly some partners of ours as well that might be going rather than Cadence itself, if you see what I mean. But yeah, I'll ask around. It does sound like it'd be of interest.
So just to say that I won't be able to participate next week, but try to send something as soon as possible.
Brilliant.
That'd be good. Thanks. We'd welcome your comments.
And how do you work when you send something? Just sorry because and sorry first of all because I arrived very late in the call because I didn't know that I needed a password. So I struggled to find the password first. I saw that I received from Mark. Let me see. Mark.
Have you joined on the Groups IO digital twins group?
Yeah, I think so because the drive, the Google Drive, gave me allow me to access to the right document. OCP, what do you have here? Sorry. Membership, I guess this is one. Yeah, no. No, I don't have an email address. I guess there must be a kind of a group email address, no?
Yeah, so if you email, I think it's OCP Digital Twin at OCP All Groups IO, that will send a message to the whole group. Or you can use I think you can use just the Groups IO interface to create. Yeah, you can send a message through the web as well.
Anyway, I would check with Mark as well. Maybe he can help me with that.
Yeah, we have a weekly call for well, bi-weekly, I think. But I'll send out a new kind of welcome message because we've had a bunch of people join the group and they might not realize there's a weekly call.
Yeah, I have.
I'll take that as an action.
Group. Actually, I have some information. So for group email address, I have post, which is OCP dash digital twin, OCP all group. Yeah, all dot groups dot io. So I guess that could be maybe the
that sounds right.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you email that, it will go to everyone in the group.
Okay. How many people are in this group?
So at the moment we've got
no, some. There's 19 members in the group's IO, but some of those are, or quite a few of them are OCP people.
Yeah, so this Bijan's OCP, isn't he? Raoul is OCP. Hardeep is NVIDIA. Sherman's Cadence.
think
Stevens
Kate,
Interact.
Kevin, Mark, Nancy, and Raoul are all OCP, I think.
I'm already in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Mark Fenton is Cadence as well. And then yeah, Julius is Meta and Hugh Lindsay is Schneider Electric.
Brilliant team.
Yeah, it's got good coverage.
Yeah.
It's sort of built up over time. But like Schneider Electric and Meta. I mean, Meta were involved early on, but then I think the person who was sort of involved from their side moved organizations. But now we've got a new and different person from Meta, so good to have them back involved. And yeah, Schneider as well. And that was all off the back of the sort of digital twin facility group call the other day, the sort of Schneider and Meta. And I think perhaps you joined at that point as well. Is that right? 100% sure. But yeah, no, it was good to meet you, Jean. Do you go by Jean-Marc or Jean or
Jean-Marc, yeah.
Jean-Marc, yeah. But yeah, it's been a pleasure to meet you. I just saw that we're very much hitting the end of the call now. But yeah, shame to miss you next week. But we can certainly like look through the comments and look at ways that we can make sure that everything you're talking about is incorporated.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, definitely. Those will be really valuable because they're a bit of a blind spot for us so far.
Okay, guys.
Okay.
Thanks a lot for welcoming me, first of all. And yeah, talk to you in 2 weeks from now.
Sounds good.
Thanks,
Great.
folks.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.